Welcome, everybody, to the Chinchilla Pickin' Podcast. It is November 30th, 2021. As always, we hope to be entertaining, educational, and uplifting because we want everyone to make money. My name is David Underwood. I'm here with Brandon Beaver. Brandon, how are you doing, man?
I'm great. I really need a new chair. You can hear this thing squeak.
Yeah, I worry about that on mine as well. You know, I got a squeaky chair, but
I can't hear yours. I can hear mine all the time. Hopefully by next week I'll get out and get one.
There you go. There you go. I was chilling with a billionaire today. I don't know about you, but were you chilling with just at home?
I'm a billionaire in my own mind.
There you go. There you go. I actually told him he looks like my nephew. So I mentioned that, hey, man, you look like my nephew. So I don't know. Tell my nephew, you look just exactly like a billionaire I know.
The founder of a company. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm going to remain nameless. But it was a good time. It was a very ordinary guy. Very ordinary guy.
Yeah, that's
very relaxed, just regular dude. You would never know. I doubt you could pick it if he was walking on the street. I doubt you could pick out that he was a billionaire.
I had somebody in my family pass away, and we found out that this person had a lot of money in the bank. And I'm talking about the fact that this guy just drove a 95 Jeep Cherokee until the day that he died. You would have never known. But hey, that's how some people, get rich and how they stay rich. That's the way to do it.
Right.
I look at a lot of these people, on StockTwits or on YouTube or whatever, flashing their Ferraris. And to me, it's not a symbol of how much money you have. It's a symbol of how much money you don't have anymore.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I had $1 billion, would I have a Bugatti or something? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't have $1 billion.
I probably would. I don't know if it'd be a Bugatti, but I might have one Lambo. I don't know.
I don't know. My daughter would probably really want me to get a G-Wagon because she likes them. So
what's a G-Wagon?
It's a Mercedes SUV.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Bugatti would be one of my cars I would get. Huh?
It's a rich soccer mom car. That's what that is.
I like that. All right, well, enough of this. Let's get into the show.
Might as well buy a Rivian.
I'm good. I'm gonna let it work out its bugs like Tesla had to for a few years. So let's get into it, shall we? Sure. Everybody, rules. Everybody knows the rules. Brandon and I get together 5 to 10 minutes before the show. We tell each other what we're going to talk about. We save the live discussion for the show for you guys to hear us. Brandon did tell me a few things today that I do disagree and has some viewpoints on. So we're going to wait. He has no idea which ones I disagree. I told him I have some thoughts on them. So he'll be surprised.
You're wrong. You're
wrong. Right. And we're going to let Brandon host most of the show. I only got one quick thing to cover. I was busy today. I actually was with a very smart gentleman who started a company and get just a little bit of time, but I was busy preparing for that and busy after that. So I do not have a whole lot of homework ready for this show. So what I'm going to cover, though, is I'm going to cover one quick thing. It's KULR. It's a stock I've talked about a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about it or not. Maybe I need to quit talking about it. But I do want to say they came out this morning and they announced before the bell that they had went ahead and they got a contract with Lockheed Martin on some batteries. And I kind of saw this coming. I've called it on the previous shows where I talked about KULR and the fact that, when you go ahead and you put an Air Force general on your board of directors and you're in the batteries and you've already done work with NASA and Airbus, you kind of knew this was coming. You saw that they were going to get some kind of government contract. This isn't a government contract, quote unquote, but Lockheed Martin typically does work for the governments. That's where they do most of their business. So you could say it is a government, you can say it's not a government contract, but they got a good contract with a solid company. And I can see the growth there. They're going to continue to have these contracts, guys. It's going to continue to grow. I'm telling you, Brandon, I see the ceiling on this stock somewhere around $10 a share.
Okay.
And that means I would probably sell around 8 or 9 and get out before it hits the 10. Now, if you listen to me at all on this, I bought in on this stock at 190 and I've been holding. And I said it was a long-term investment. I said I was looking at a year and a half. But I said it was a good investment. It was a solid investment. They had some great opportunities. They had 0 contracts signed at the time I made the call on this show at a buck 92 bucks. They had no contracts. They've now signed since then 3 different contracts with 3 different companies. They're going to continue, guys. Great company. They have a bright future. They have a long way to go. I like them. We follow them on our Instagram. Please follow us on our Instagram at Chinchilla Bacon. But yeah, KULR, great company. That's my one shout out. And that's all I got. I'm gonna give it to Brandon. He's very well prepared, and he has a couple picks today, guys. I'm excited to see what his picks are. I'm excited to tear them apart and tell you why you're wrong, Brandon. So go ahead.
Well, Lockheed Martin's going to give KULR credibility. Lockheed Martin.
I mean, come on, man. You're the Mars rover is a battery with your battery pack.
Yeah.
Is that not credibility enough?
And speaking of Lockheed Martin, it's my favorite defense contractor, and it's a dividend king. So
there you go.
Good one. Okay. Today, Fed Chairman Powell came out and said they were probably going to start hiking rates sooner rather than later, and start the tapering process, speed up the tapering process a little bit more. Also said it was time to retire the term transitory, which
out time.
To me, this is late. The time frame makes sense but not for the right reasons. I said 6 months ago, I think maybe 5 months ago, I don't know, that I thought that he'd probably start tapering or speed up the tapering process rather, and hiking rates after he was re-elected to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve. 2 weeks later, that's where we're at. He's finally doing it. I guess better late than never, but clearly I think it was political. I think it was political that he didn't do it beforehand. It would have made him a potential enemy of the Biden administration. And had he started hiking rates, he probably would not be the Fed chair today. So,
well, whether or not it's political, it doesn't matter. He's now going to start raising rates. He's now going to start pushing for the taper, and he's now going to get this done. Right?
Yeah. And now the market panicked a little bit about that today. I don't think you should panic. I think this is actually good for the market. Inflation is way too high. It is clearly not transitory. It is clearly staying around for a long time. And if we can get consumer staples under control as far as prices go, if we get those grocery prices under control, then the consumer will have more money for consumer discretionaries. So, all
right. So I got to interrupt you here.
Things like that.
No, I'm going to talk over you because I got to interrupt you here, man.
All right.
You made like 3 different points, and I got to go back to point 1 here. And this is where you're talking about the market reacted to the tapering.
Yes.
I don't believe the market reacted to tapering. I believe this is people taking money off the table and putting it somewhere else, or cycling money around or moving it around, because what the Fed already said they were going to taper 100% for sure in 2022, and people already made moves because of that. It's already priced in. They already made the moves accordingly to the tapering.
So Chairman Powell gave a speech this morning around 10 a.m. And during his speech, when he was talking about this, the market sold off more. We started to rebound from the COVID scares, and then there was a dip. And it may be a short-term dip, but I think it was a reaction to that. People were looking for more of an
excuse. You said 10 a.m.? I'm just going to look at all my watch list here just to check you out here.
Check SPY. And the QQQ. The NASDAQ is really what reacted to it, because the NASDAQ was outperforming the rest of the market up until that point.
All right. So I see. All right. No, not. I see everything was going down before that, before 10 a.m.
It was, but I mean, I was watching it on TV. I saw the.
I mean, it's Omicron is the news right now. It's South Africa. It's the virus. It's people moving money around. It's December sales not being what they were. Black Friday did not hit the mark. It's those things that are moving the market.
Okay,
it's not the Fed news.
The headline is that Black Friday didn't hit the mark.
Yeah.
That's the headline. Okay. But e-commerce sales did really well still. They said they were flat year to date, or not year to date, but year over year. But how is that not good? I mean, this time last year, most people were still shopping from their homes. Most people were not going out to buy stuff because they were still freaked out over COVID. We didn't have vaccines yet this time last year. So the fact that e-commerce is flat is good news to me. I expected it actually to be down year over year.
But
So
isn't e-commerce included in the Black Friday numbers?
I don't think.
Yes or no?
I don't think they've actually put it all together yet.
So you're saying all the numbers aren't ready and available, and we're just overreacting here. Okay, again, I'm gonna. This is my third time. I'm gonna pull out my phone here, and I'm gonna check you because
I think so. So we've got the weekend. I think that in Cyber Monday that you have to include in this if you're going to talk about holiday sales. The supply chain is still an issue here, but I think we overreacted to that personally.
That's what the market's reacting to right now, Brandon.
Comparable.
I mean, but we knew we were pulling forward sales. We talked about in the show. We said most likely what's going to happen is we were going to pull forward sales. We're going to have a higher sales right now in November, but December is going to be down because people are buying now.
But to point to because this was a lot of the analysts were doing this. They're pointing to e-commerce comparables year over year, and that's a goofy comparable to look at, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with your point. I'll give you this. I agree with your point that if you're comparing it to the global pandemic last year, then we are doing well on e-commerce. It was a great year for e-commerce again, right? I'll give you that 100% agree with you on that point. I think, and we said, I said I'm staying away from retail. I'm not buying retailers right now because I don't like how December is going to look. It's going to be bad. I don't want to buy a retailer right now. I said that on last week's show. I'm continuing that statement this week. When we record this, it's public. It's out there. I'm not buying retailers.
Yeah. So. You know what? I said the same thing, but I made a exemption with Dick's Sporting Goods, which right after that, this became a battleground stock. And it's down since I made that call, but I think this is still a good long-term play with expanding margins. And this is a different company than what it was just a couple of years ago. They've got brands that will keep customers coming in. This isn't just the old Dick's Sporting Goods where you go and, buy stuff for your kids when it's baseball season. This is now the Dick's Sporting Goods that holds popular retail brands like the North Face and huge seller of Nike. So I think that Dick's Sporting Goods is good here. However, with Dick's Sporting Goods, if the Fed can't get inflation under control, they could be a victim because they are consumer discretionary.
Yeah, and sporting goods stores usually do well during the Olympics. You had the Olympics coming up, Winter Olympics in February. So
yeah, and this is why I'm bullish on the Fed hiking rates. I own Dick's Sporting Goods stock, so I think in the long term that's going to be good for me. Because if they can get grocery prices and transportation costs under control, then people are going to have more money to go do things that they like to do rather than, spending all of their money on things that they need. So
thank you for telling us you own it. I appreciate you finally coming forward with that detail.
I usually say it.
You don't always, but yes.
So almost every stock, I'll just say this, almost every stock that I mentioned bullishly on this show, I have either already bought it or I buy it afterwards. And that's because I believe in what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, and you should. I would expect you to. So, all right, so let's go back to the questions. We're back on the Fed, the tapering, and what are you buying? How are you moving money now that you see this happening? Are you buying anything because of it, or are you selling something?
I actually made some purchases today, and I came up with a little COVID scare buy list.
COVID scare buy list.
Okay. So first was Procter & Gamble. I think to me, this is the most obvious because if the maker of Mr. Clean sells off because of a COVID scare, then it's a buy. And it did a little bit this morning. I honestly don't know where it wound up at the end of the day, but it was down about 1% this morning when I bought it. And, if it's the maker, listen, they've got their brands include, but they're not limited to such essentials as Tide, Gain, Downy, Mr. Clean, Crest, Cascade, Dawn, Gillette, Swiffer, the quicker picker upper bounty. And they make toilet paper, which is gold during COVID times, via their Charmin brand. P&G also supports a dividend of 2.36%, and they've increased their dividend for the past 65 straight years. They've also got a low beta. This means that it will be not as volatile as the rest of the market during volatile times like we have right now. So
it also means it doesn't move as much. It move. All right. So, all right. I always get hard. I mean, because we live in Cincinnati. So there's a P&G's headquarters right here. I always get hate when I say that, because yes, the last few years P&G has moved, but there was a stint from 2000 to like 2000, I think 12.
Yeah.
It didn't move a muscle.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I always ragged on P&G. I was like, it doesn't move. It's never going to make you money.
People probably just, you know what? It was a retirement dividend play at that point in time. It was like, all right, you're nearing retirement. You want some place to sit your money and beat inflation. And inflation was relatively low. So
yeah, but at 2.4%, you're not beating inflation, dude.
Not now, you're not. Not now. So now you need a return. I think you're still going to get a return here. It's up nicely, but I like this stock. It's nice and comfortable. And it's a consumer staple, meaning that, you know, these are products that you have to have in your household.
You're not like it as much as you like GE.
Yeah, you can't sit there like, okay, I could go to Dick's and be like, you know what? I don't want to buy this kayak today because I don't have money, but I'm not going to go into the shopping store and be like, you know, I can't buy detergent. I need detergent. Need to stay clean. I need my toothpaste, you know?
Yep.
So P&G was number one on my list. I would say number two, I've called this so many times already, Berkshire Hathaway. They're diversified.
They're down after the bell right now, by the way.
It's a buying opportunity.
They took a dip.
Their diversified holdings of stocks like Amazon and Apple and banks and insurance companies make this company a play no matter what happens to interest rates. Plus, they have the essential retail company, Kroger, and they have my Procter & Gamble, as well as companies like Johnson & Johnson and AbbVie if you're looking for pharmaceuticals. So Berkshire Hathaway, nice diversified play in its own right.
Down 1.3% after the bell, guys. Brandon's making a call, and since it's down after the bell, it's a good buying opportunity, like you said.
Now, pick between these three, okay? I like Facebook, I like Apple, and I like Netflix. But I like Facebook.
Now, what's my time range? How long do I have to hold these?
For me, Facebook and Apple are buys and holds. You don't. Man, I hate using this because, you know, there's a famous TV personality that I dog all the time on this show. That
says, right.
Don't trade Apple, you own it. And I think the same thing about Meta or Facebook or whatever you want to call it.
All right. So out of these three, the one I would buy, like if I'm swing trading this, I'm short in Apple right now because it's going to swing down. It took a couple gaps up. It's going to take a dip back down to 160. Test the lows there. I would swing trade it that way. Facebook, I would buy right now, like you said, hold it. Netflix, I would not buy. That's the one out of these three.
The interest rates might hurt Netflix more than they do the others. I'm not looking at these stay-at-home plays. That phrase is dead to me now. The reason why I like this as a scare buy is because these COVID scares, they've actually dropped bond rates again. And bond rates being lower means borrowing costs and corporate costs become lower despite inflation. And tech, this is a gift to tech right now. Pushing borrowing costs down lower is an absolute gift to tech. I like Apple and Meta personally because of the metaverse concept as a catalyst for the future. And the more news you get on the metaverse, the more these stocks should go up. Also, Apple has the VR goggles that they're supposedly going to release next year, and the EV, the electric vehicle that maybe one day they will release. We've been talking about it for years. The more that rumor pops up, the more the stock pops. So there's catalysts in metaverse and Apple that I don't think exist in other places in tech. I also bought Disney today, by the way, and I bought Disney because
hold on. Before you go into Disney, I do have a couple words on Facebook. Thanks for letting me get a word in edgewise here on Facebook. I'm joking. Yeah, before you get into Disney, Facebook, look, I think Facebook with Meta, people don't understand how much money they're going to make with their metaverse.
Yeah.
Facebook owns Oculus. You guys have no idea. Once they get this set up and running, you're going to go in there. You're going to go to a Nike store and you're going to buy Nike goods, and Nike has to give a percentage of that profit to Facebook. All right. And you're going to buy virtual goods too. So like, oh, I get a Nike polo for my avatar. It's going to cost me $1. Well, Facebook gets like 10 cents of that buck. You guys get this? Like, this is Facebook's got a racket, man. I'm telling you, they're going to make money hand over fist once this is up and rolling.
When the market doesn't understand something, you understand something before the market does. When that happens, that's your opportunity.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, it is. And so like Facebook long-term, Meta long-term. Yeah, I like Meta long-term because of the metaverse and how they're pushing in. The fact that everybody has these Oculus VR headsets. I have an Oculus VR headset. It's a great system. It's a great, what you call a console, if you will, compared to Xbox and PlayStation. So, it is where it's at. And I also want to remind everybody listening, look, if you get us to 1,000 subscribers on Instagram, followers on Instagram, I will give away Facebook VR goggles. Tell your friends, have them follow us. I want to give this away. I really do. So please, if you have any questions, you're in the Cincinnati area, Brandon and I will both be at the Jingle Bell Run on December 11th in Northern Kentucky. You can find us there. We'll be wearing our Chinchilla Pickin' shirts. You can find us out, ask us questions, come up to us. We'll be ready to answer anything you guys have to say. Anyways,
after I cuss Dave out for making me run.
Yes, after he's angry with me for making him run. Brandon, Disney, what do you got?
So Disney, anytime there's a COVID scare, people, I think rightfully so, start to focus on the fact that the parks may shut down, and that's obviously a large source of revenue for them. There's also Disney Plus, though, that people forget about.
We're not shutting down parks anymore, man. That's not going to happen anymore. We're just moving on with life. Yeah. We're just going to wear masks, and you're going to have a new booster every 6 months.
It's, I think, an overreaction. But I also like this because they own 67% of Hulu. I don't understand. A lot of people still don't know this. I talk to people all the time about this. Hey, do you know Disney owns most of Hulu? And Disney never really makes this a primary point in any of their earnings calls or any of their interviews or anything like that. But yes, Disney owns 67% of Hulu. So there's always something.
You have Hulu, you know that because Disney offers that bundle. They push it on you. Hey, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, all for this bundle price. And then, you always see Disney movies in the Hulu movie section.
This Omicron, is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. I've been busy the past few days.
This variant so far seems to be rather mild. I just see, I've heard that most people get fatigued for a few days. So it may actually be a blessing to us, because for people who don't want to get the vaccine, this may actually just be a natural vaccine. I don't know. It's too early to tell. So it is kind of a scary situation, but people are overreacting to it, in my opinion.
I believe there is an overreaction as well. So anytime there's a dip due to Omicron, I believe it's a buying opportunity, because I do not believe that Omicron is going to be as bad as everybody says it is. And that's based off the scientists in South Africa and what they are saying. Yeah. I'm not listening to politicians. I'm listening to scientists in South Africa, because that's who I have to go off of. They're the ones who are seeing it, dealing with it every day, and they're saying it's mild symptoms. It's not. It's nothing that people can't handle. It's just fine. And if you have the basic 2-shot vaccine, you will have some kind of defense against it. So, we're fine, people.
Yeah, and that's why I am buying best of breed airline Delta. In my opinion, that's the best of breed.
And here's the point I said I would say on the show live, so everybody get to hear. Are you pushing Delta because you own it and you're down right now?
No.
Why are you pushing Delta? Why are you pushing? Explain this. I love Delta. No, don't get me wrong. I want to first say I love Delta too. I think it's a buy right now at the prices at as well. But why do you think it's a buy?
Anytime you have an overreaction in anything, you're going to have a reversion back to the mean upwards. And that's what I'm playing here. I'm looking at this to go back up to around $40 to $41. And I think it's going to happen. I don't know when, because I don't know what kind of news is going to come out of this new variant here. But they've shut down travel from South Africa. The South African countries, which are less than like 1% of global international travel. And the airline stocks got hit hard. I think it was like 10% in the airline industry that got shaved off on Friday, and we haven't recovered from that. It's still continued through today, and Delta got hit, and I think Delta is the best of breed, so that's why I'm buying Delta.
100% agree. Delta is the best of breed of the airlines that you can buy and sell in the stock market. 100% agree that 10% is an overreaction, that it will go back up. 100% agree that there isn't much traffic and revenue coming from the countries that got shut down. I think Delta is definitely a buy right now. I would buy it. I do not buy it. I do not own it, and I have not bought it, but I might buy it after we get done here recording. So
what I want people to do, I don't want them to go out and then just shovel all their money at it. On down days, you buy this incrementally, because we don't know what kind of news is going to come tomorrow or the next day. So you incrementally buy it when it makes sense. That way, if you have to cost average down again, then you're able to do it.
It's called building a position, is what I've talked about with KULR. I've said, guys, look, KULR's a long-term investment. You know, if say you get $50 a paycheck and you buy some more shares every paycheck, you build your position. And that's what you're talking about with Delta, is building a position.
Right.
But how quickly, what's your timeline on building this position? Because I think Delta is going to go back up within a week.
You know, I don't really have one.
I'm right here, publicly recording this. Delta will go back up within a week.
Okay. I hope it does.
I'm sure you do.
I don't have a time frame on this, only because you can't chart COVID. You know what I mean? You can't chart it, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't know. You know, we don't know what the long-term effects of Omicron are going to be on anybody. I think a lot of people. I don't think anybody's really completely recovered from it yet. I could be wrong about that.
All I know is Florida doesn't care.
Clearly, I'm not spreading fear, because I think we overreacted. I'm just saying.
And all I know is Florida does not care what virus you say anymore. They're like, no, we ain't shutting down nothing. It's and every state has a right to do what they want and react the way they want to. Even if like states like California and New York shut down more, which, you know, if that's what they feel they need to do. I don't think they will, though. I don't think California and New York are going to shut down off of Omicron.
I don't think so either.
I think they'll just have tighter mask restrictions, but that's it. That's about as far as they're going to go right now. I think we're over the whole shutdown situation as a country, and I don't believe we're going to shut down anymore.
It would be very politically unpopular, for certain.
Whoever's in charge to make that call.
Omicron might actually keep a lid on prices too, if oil continues to drop and the price of transportation.
You know, Omicron sounds like a stock. I want to buy shares in Omicron, doesn't it? It sounds like a stock. I'm going to get hate for that too. People are going to say, "Why are you joking about a virus?" You know what? I'm sorry, but I gotta have some fun and joke around every now and then.
I just I think it's an overreaction. I don't.
It is an overreaction based off the science and what the scientists said in South Africa. Anyways, you said you're buying Delta off this overreaction.
Yeah, you threw me off. I forget what.
Yeah, and what else have you called this so far? I've heard Delta, Disney. Do we have another D?
Procter and Gamble.
Procter and Gamble.
Facebook.
And Meta. Yeah. All right, so Meta, Procter and Gamble, Delta, and Disney are your calls.
Yes.
All right.
For this, that's what I like. Omicron, it might put a cap on prices. I don't know, unless it complicates the supply.
It's going to be out of the news in a couple months.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so on Friday, I made a trade via SVXY is the ticker symbol. It's an ETF. It's the ProShares Short VIX Short-Term Futures ETF, which means that you're shorting the VIX. So you're playing that volatility is going to calm down. Clearly,
so it's the opposite of UVXY.
The opposite of UVXY. Now, my reasoning for this was that on Friday, the market closed at 1 p.m. It was the day after Thanksgiving. We had a huge sell-off that I thought was more to do with low liquidity than anything at that point in time. And I thought we'd see a recovery on Monday, which we did briefly. And I was able to make 5% off of this. So I was happy with my trade. This is not something to buy and hold long. It's a good short play against volatility when the market is volatile, but you believe it'll calm down soon, or if you think that the market's going to stay sideways for a while. but it's not a good long-term play.
Why is that?
Because when volatility erupts, this thing dips fast and hard, and it takes a long time to recover. Also, if you bring up a 5-year chart on this, you look back in February of 2018, you'll see this thing plummeted and it never recovered. And the reason was that there was an unprecedented VIX spike of about 116%, and it resulted in a 91% drop in SVXY's value and the termination of another ETF, ticker XIV, which was a similar fund. Now, on February 27th, 2018, Pro shares reduced the chances of a similar event in the future by lowering SVXY's leverage from -1 times the daily moves of the VIX futures down to 0.5 times the volatility of the futures, which it's good for the future of this ETF. But the problem is that you experienced this huge drop at -1 times, which is just basically the inverse of the VIX. When they halved that, they made it nearly impossible to recover the losses that people had on it. So lots of people wound up holding bags on this. And they'll tell you on the ProShares website, you don't hold this for long term. They say this is primarily meant for day trades and 24-hour swing trades. And if you hold it for longer, you have to monitor it very closely. So that's my warning on it, but it does make for some good opportunities in day trades and swing trades. But look at that 5-year chart there. This thing, like, oh man, it got crushed, and a lot of people got stuck holding the bag. So
there you go.
Now I have a suggestion with this one. You can wait for the news to start to cool down. If the market opens red and then goes green on high volume, you can swing trade this ETF into the next day, because the volume will probably be lower in the next day, and we might start to calm down.
Not always.
No, that's where you have to be careful. But this is why when you buy stuff like this ETF, you can put just a little bit into it, because if you lose money, you don't lose much.
I would make that call based off of, why did the market move today? Yeah. And if it doesn't have any fundamental base, it's just, the macro event news of the day and not something that would be going on for a week or two, then okay, that would be a case. But again, you have to be aware and know what's going on in the markets, know the emotions of the markets, and have a good pulse on it.
Right. Red to green during a day, it's a classic sign of a bottom. It's very hard to predict the COVID situation, though, so you do have to be careful with it. But it's the first time I ever did it, so I wanted to talk about it. I didn't put much money into it because I've never done it before, but the next time I think I'll be a little bit more comfortable with it. So,
man, back that truck up, dude. Load it in. Same.
So that's what I've got. You've got my COVID scare buy list. You got the suggestion on the SVXY. If you've never played SVXY yourself, I recommend do it. You just do the same thing that I did on Friday. You put just a little bit in on it, and you don't need to put a lot of money into it, even though it's only half of the VIX as far as volatility goes. It still moves quite a bit, so you still get those 5 to 6% moves rather quick.
Yep. All right, guys. KULR, I still think it's a long-term investment, man. I another good news today, another contract signed. They continue to grow. Once they start seeing the earnings come in from all these contracts they signed, you're going to see their revenue, their top line number grow by hundreds of percentage every quarter after quarter after quarter, until this thing is worth $10 a share.
Yeah.
I'm selling around 8 or 9. But I've held since $1.90, so I'd be doing very happy and well at that moment. That's what I got. Brandon, final thoughts. List your calls right now for everybody.
Procter & Gamble, P&G, Facebook and Apple, but you choose one. Berkshire Hathaway, which will also give you access to Apple too through Berkshire Hathaway, Delta Airlines, and Disney.
There you go, guys. As always,
I have a final thought. You need to ask me for my final thought. You usually ask me, and I wrote one. So
my bad. I'm sorry. This was me asking you what's your final thought. I'm sorry. Final thought, Brandon.
Find good companies with good balance sheets. Get to know the CEO and what they've done in their career, so you know if you can trust them. Then buy those companies when they drop to good values. In this environment, you should accumulate these kind of companies. The financial statements will tell you their story and if they're resilient enough to last through whatever is troubling the markets. Sometimes it's okay to shoot first and ask questions later. We don't know what kind of news this Omicron variant is going to bring, or whatever new variant we might have. We don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So buy these investments incrementally, and over the long haul, I think you'll be okay.
Man, you really did. You really did have a final thought, didn't you? Yeah. You put a lot of work in there. All right.
Who once said, if you wait until you know everything, then it's too late?
Oh, I've heard this before too. I have heard this before. Hold on. All right, for the sake of time, I don't know. Give me.
I just recommended Berkshire Hathaway. It's Warren Buffett.
That's why I've heard it. I knew it. I knew I heard that before. I was like, I've heard this. Warren Buffett. Yeah. Good quote. It's a good quote. Yes. You can't, you're never going to know everything, because after you know everything, the move's already priced in.
Right.
Yeah. It's already too late. So, because everybody knows everything. Yeah. All right, guys. Happy birthday, Brandon. Please get on our Instagram and wish Brandon happy birthday when I post about this podcast here tonight, guys. He is now 55 years. No, he's not 55. Brandon is young and in his mid 30s. So
36.
Yeah. You didn't have to say. I wasn't going to say. But anyways, guys, we hope we've been entertaining, educational, and uplifting, because we want everyone to make money. Have a good night.
Have a good night. If you've listened to our podcast before, you know that we are good friends with the Money Vikings, and we think that they have a lot of good knowledge and, just a wealth of knowledge to offer. About 60 years worth of knowledge and trading experience between the three, between Greg, Bob, and Jerry. Now, I have some good news for you, because they have announced a premium program. It's the Money Vikings MVP premium content. Okay. And I have to tell you this right now. If you're new to the market, you have got to have somebody to mentor you through it, because 75% of all new market entrants will lose all of their money in the first year. And you have to have somebody that will guide you through it to prevent you from making these mistakes that most people do. And with this MVP access, this premium content, you will get direct access to Greg, Bob, and Jerry on Discord. That's the most important feature of this program, in my opinion. They do also have access, they will give you access to other things, such as hot trades, weekly newsletters, technical analysis. Hey, it's ad free. That's cool too, right? Guides and tutorials, tools and custom technical indicators, exclusive analytics and informative articles, and then, as I said, exclusive direct access to Greg, Jerry, and Bob, who have over 60 years of experience between them. Now, if you listen to this podcast, you need to get a pencil and you need to get a paper and you need to write this down, because you get 25% off. Once you go to moneyvikings.com and you sign up, you'll get to enter in this code. It's capital TMV P1CK1NS. That is all capital TMV P1CK1NS. An easy way to remember that is TMV Pickens, but the one replaces the I. So go to moneyvikings.com, claim your discount for being a Chinchilla Picking podcast listener, and conquer your financial freedom.